In this video, we're gonna see about a processor called encode. Using this processor, we can encode the data from the file, content of the file, or the flow file, using various encode techniques. There are two processes that can handle this. In that two process, we're gonna see what are the two processes and which one to use, and how to encode and decode the flow file content using this. So let's start with pulling the processor group and then name it as encode decode demo. Go into the processor group and pull a processor, generate record. Earlier in earlier tutorials, we used how to use generate flow files. But right now we're gonna not generate random. We're gonna generate a particular format of data. So I'm using generate record. Generate flow file will generate a random data, and it or you can also make it as a custom data, custom content as well. But for in this tutorial, we can use how to use generate record. This processor will generate flow files having records uh, of a random value for a specific field. So you can define the syntax, and based upon that syntax, it can generate random values in that. So let's add this processor group. Sorry, this processor. Let's zoom a little bit. Little more. Let's configure this. Here, this this will generate data, and that can be written in various formats. For example, it can be written as CSV format or JSON format. I already created CSV record set writer, but if you want, you can create these many Avro CSV, JSON, Parquet, XML. For now, I already created, if you want to create a new JSON record set writer, you can also create it. And from that point, you can see two of them. But here you can see CSV, and then just now I created JSON. So let me configure and then set that value of CSV record writer. I'm not using JSON. We can use that as well, but for this demo purpose, I'm not using that. And number of records per batch, the default one is 100. We can set it as 10 records. I'll show where the 10 records come from. I just want to touch it and then apply it. So only the relationship success is pending. Let's drag the process encode. So here, if you want to encode, there are two options: base 64 encode content, which works with only base 64, encodes and decodes contents to and from base 64. But there is a general process encode which encodes and decodes in many other form, like base 64, base 32, or hex encoding schemes. So for this purpose, I'm going to use encode content, not base 64 only, and then connect these two things. So the generate record, we should also give, we can also mention the schema of the text here. So for now, I'm mentioning as a type record, and then ID as int and name as string. I can set this, apply, and encode. After encoding, you're gonna see the content is in different format. Okay, for that, let's drag a funnel and connect this encoded value to this so that we can inspect the encoded values over here. Success. And then for failure, we're going to set to one more funnel. And then the encoded value can be also decoded. We're going to see the same as well. Encode 6 content. And then I will pass this content here on success. On failure, I'm going to just pass to the funnel. And then here, whatever I encoded, I will just decode it back to base 64. So we can view that data. And then we can make it as success, as to one funnel, success funnel. And then failure to one more process. Okay, let's generate a record. Just I'm running once. You see, one content flow file is queued here. Let's inspect this flow file. It's just a random file name with this many bytes. If you view this, see here is the 10 records that we got selected. So in one batch, we're gonna see earlier the default value is 100. If you left as it is, it have shown as 100 records, but now I selected 10. It's shown the 10 records here. And then once this flow file passes through encode content, which the properties that we set with encode with base 64, let's run this once, refresh. So it's success, right? It went to this queue, list queue, and open this file, and you can view here, it's in encoded format. The whole file, content of the file is encoded. So you can also view from here as well. Let me close that. So we have seen a flow file got encoded completely and into the success funnel. Now, I have also made a success connection to decode processor as well. So here you can see the same content. The encoded content will be passed to this processor as well, this queue as well. And then if I view that content, list queue, it is encoded. And once it enters the decode processor here, let me run once, refresh, it got succeeded. And if you inspect here, you can see back the original CSV content. You can also change the content, it doesn't matter. Execute record content can be changed as it is, whatever format you want. If you configure, if I don't want this CSV and I want to create a configure JSON, okay, and I just want one record here. Start once, or oh, I see an error here. Record writer valid against is invalid because the controller service with ID is disabled. Okay, I created the record writer, but I didn't enable it. In order to do that, you have to enable. Okay, it's enabled. You can see the status here as enabled. And run once. So you can see a flow file here. If you inspect this one, view content, it's a JSON. I just selected one row, so it's just one value there. So I hope you understand how to use generate record, and the whole point of this video is to demo the encode content and decode content. So you got a good understanding of that along with generate record as well. Thank you. If you like this video, please subscribe the channel.